Well, let's bring in the Chartered Institute of Forensics President and Certified Fraud Investigators, Ilyasu Gashinbaki. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. We saw you there earlier today. But again, let's quickly jump in at your expertise based on a forensic expert in fraud investigation. What do you think is the biggest vulnerabilities or risk involved in Nigeria's electoral process?
Yeah, I think our biggest risk lies with the recruitment process. You can see the feelings, the pulse of Nigerians, the unfavorable views that Nigerians have about the political elites is that we have a bunch of unproductive and incompetent people in power. That's the general view, quite unfavorable. And the way to address that then is to make sure that the recruitment process into political offices, we take care of that. The gatekeeping into how you get in, that is where we need to tackle.
So how does your agency, Institute of Forensics, how do you come in here? Because, I mean, you were quoted as saying from 2027, rigging will be exposed. And I put your name there, Gashinbaki, quoting you verbatim there. So how does your agency come in to clean up the electoral process? Okay,
I think we told them at the round table, and prior to this, we have started high-level engagement with IPAC. And our first suggestion to IPAC was that, look, why don't we put in place a process where before the primary elections, candidates are vetted so that, number one, we'll be able to weed out these issues of having people coming with either forged documents or people that are not qualified. So all the things, because vetting is broad. So the broad-based vetting will be undertaken, and then that gives clearance for people that will even go into the primaries. And at the level of IPAC, I think they are happy with that suggestion. And even today, at the round table, I did emphasize that taking the advantage that all the heads of political parties were all there. And I think it is something that they also see is very important, and they see it as one of the remarkable steps of reducing this challenge.
And you know then the voter register is another sore point. Yes. And perhaps for the forensics expert like yourself, the technological, procedural, and even oversight of INEC will help in getting us a very foolproof voter register. How can your group of experts help INEC to ensure that that register is clean?
First of all, I think as far as the Institute is concerned, we are ready. But we also need INEC to be ready. The government also, through their political will of ensuring political reforms, need to be ready. And then, of course, the courts, they also need to be ready. And the reason why all of this is intertwined is the fact that the number one step is to see that the infusion of technology, not just voters registration, but the voting process, the transmission of results, all these need to be integrated and automated. And the underlying infrastructure that will power all of this need to also be integrated with forensic capabilities. So we need to have this work started now. 2027 is a few years away, but the earlier we start, the better. So INEC need to get itself together. And like I said, also, like what we have seen with the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, we've seen conflicting judgment, especially when it comes to Section 137 of the Electoral Act, that talked about tendering evidence that the specimen is already certified. And then, of course, again, when you read the Supreme Court judgments, you see it clearly. In some instances, there are judgments that support the enforcement of Section 137. And then there are also the same Supreme Court judgment that nullify Section 137. So it puts the entire body of evidence that you need to tender into jeopardy. However, and that's why we are saying that if you infuse forensics now, quite early, the challenge that is facing the courts and the counsels, the lawyers that also tender this evidence in court becomes easier, because at that time, forensic evidence, the digital forensic is a click of a button, because everything can be traced. The entire electoral management process can be mapped out, including attacks, including network challenges. All those issues, cyber, digital forensics can resolve it. Then on the physical documents, of course, that's why you have the document forensic evidence tracing. So that one also resolves anything to do with signature, handwriting, alteration of results, or documents, and all of that. But of course, if the underlying technology is even digital, it makes it easier.
Right. Nigeria faces 2 elections. Edo and Ondo State are coming up very soon. I'm hoping that you'll be...
How ready are we?
Exactly. That's the point. You know.
Well,
how ready, and what will it take for you to be ready? And what will it take for INEC to be ready? And all the other gatekeepers that you talk about?
Unfortunately, for the off-cycle elections, I will say we are not ready yet, because the Institute is new. We are at the advanced stage of procurement for setting up all these laboratories that will power this. But I think INEC should take all the necessary steps to see marked improvement based on what we have seen in the 2023.
Are there specific steps that INEC must take that you can give
One
us
of
now?
those steps that they should take, and I'm saying this clearly now, that if they need help, we can assist them, is to make sure that at least that the beavers works this time around. And also to make sure that there are no glitches to the electoral portal, so that results can be transmitted so easily. And of course, if they need support in terms of trail of gathering of evidence that will support, that will serve as litigation support in court, I think the Institute will be more than willing to give that support to
listening to you, it will mean that we'll have less stress within the judiciary if these are implemented. But very quickly, before we let you go, political parties, candidates, and their supporters are a very important, aspect of our electoral journey.
Yes.
How do you hold them to such high standards in their campaign financing and other activities using forensics?
Well, the beauty of forensics is that as of today, it covers about 127 body of knowledge, domain body of knowledge. So therefore, from terrorist financing to the entire gamut of the financial services sector, forensic is quite needed. And for example, the truth is, even the current challenges that law enforcement do have in tracking and tracing either laundered money, because Interpol came out to say recently that every hour millions of dollars are being laundered across Africa, including Nigeria. So, and what that means, therefore, is that more technical knowledge of digital forensics and adoption of that technology need to be within our fintech.
So I want to believe that you're working hand in hand in tandem with the anti-corruption agencies like EFCC, ICPC, and other law enforcement agencies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So Nigerians are going to be relying on you,
absolutely,
on your institute.
EFCC is our biggest supporter. Our college, which is the Nigerian College of Forensics and Fraud Investigators, is domiciled within the EFCC Academy.
Great.
So we have a very robust relationship.
Great, fantastic. Ilyasu Gashinbaki, President, Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Investigators of Nigeria. The next time you're here, we're going to be talking about that aspect, the fraud investigations and how that's going.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.